The world was engulfed in the flames of World War II, a conflict that would reshape the course of history. It was a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality, affecting not just soldiers but civilians across the globe. Years of relentless fighting had left millions dead and entire nations in ruins, with countless lives shattered. By 1945, the tide had decisively turned against Japan, signaling a potential end to the conflict. However, the island nation, fueled by a fierce sense of nationalism and a belief in its own invincibility, refused to surrender, clinging to hope against overwhelming odds. The war raged on with no end in sight as battles continued to erupt across the Pacific. The United States, deeply involved in the Pacific theater, faced a formidable challenge, with each battle proving more grueling than the last. Japan's military, though weakened, continued to resist fiercely, employing desperate measures like kamikaze attacks. The invasion of Japan was considered a daunting task that required meticulous planning and immense resources. However, such an operation was projected to result in staggering casualties on both sides, a cost too high to bear. Amidst this backdrop of escalating violence and potential for further bloodshed, a fateful decision was made, one that would change the world forever. The United States, under President Harry Truman, chose to unleash a new and terrifying weapon, the atomic bomb, forever altering the course of human history. The development of the atomic bomb was shrouded in secrecy, hidden from the public eye and even from many within the government. The Manhattan Project, a top-secret US government program, had been working tirelessly to harness the power of the atom, driven by the fear that Nazi Germany might develop such a weapon first. The scientists involved understood the immense destructive potential of their creation, grappling with the moral implications of their work.
The decision to use the atomic bomb was not taken lightly, involving intense debate and consideration at the highest levels of government. It was a choice born of desperation, a calculated gamble to end the war swiftly and decisively, potentially saving countless lives that would be lost in a prolonged conflict. The potential consequences of unleashing such a weapon were unknown, but the alternative, protracted and bloody invasion of Japan, seemed equally horrific and uncertain.
On July 26, 1945, the Potsdam Declaration was issued, calling for Japan's unconditional surrender, a final plea for peace. The ultimatum was met with silence. The die was cast, and the world held its breath. The world braced itself for a new era of warfare, one defined by the awesome and terrifying power of the atom, forever changing the course of history. The Enola Gay, a B-29 bomber, took off from the island of Tinian. It carried a single bomb, nicknamed Little Boy. The target was Hiroshima, a city of strategic importance on the island of Honshu, Japan. Hiroshima was a bustling city, home to over 350,000 people.
At 8:15 a.m. local time, Little Boy detonated 1,900 feet above Hiroshima. The world had never seen anything like it. The explosion, equivalent to 15,000 tons of TNT, unleashed a blinding flash of light and a deafening roar. The city in an instant was reduced to rubble and ash. A massive mushroom cloud, towering over 40,000 feet, rose into the sky, casting an eerie shadow over the devastated landscape. The air was thick with the smell of burning flesh and debris.
The devastation in Hiroshima was absolute. Buildings within a 2-kilometer radius of the hypercenter were vaporized. The intense heat ignited fires that raged through the city, consuming everything in their path.
Those who survived the initial blast faced a horrific fate. Many were instantly inflicted with severe burns from the intense heat. Others, closer to the hypocenter, were vaporized, their shadows etched onto walls and streets. The lucky ones, if you could call them that, were those on the outskirts of the city. The air was filled with a radioactive dust, a silent killer that would continue to claim lives for years to come. The hospitals, already overwhelmed before the bombing, were ill-equipped to handle the sheer number of casualties.
Section 5. Nagasaki. August 9th, 1945, 11:02 a.m. 3 days after Hiroshima, a second B-29 bomber, boxcar, carrying a more powerful plutonium bomb, Fat Man, headed towards Kokura. The primary target was clouded over. The secondary target, Nagasaki, a port city on the island of Kyushu, was chosen. At 11:02 a.m., Fat Man detonated over the city's industrial valley. The explosion, while slightly less powerful than the one in Hiroshima, still unleashed unimaginable destruction. Nagasaki, like Hiroshima before it, was instantly transformed into a scene of unimaginable horror. The bombing of Nagasaki, coming just days after Hiroshima, sent shockwaves around the world. The sheer scale of the destruction and the horrific human toll forced the world to confront the terrifying reality of atomic warfare. Section 6. 2 cities, 2 tragedies, a comparative look. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, though separated by just 3 days, left distinct scars on the landscape and psyche of Japan. The Hiroshima bomb, Little Boy, detonated over the city center, maximizing casualties and destruction. In Nagasaki, Fat Man exploded over the Urakami Valley, an industrial area, limiting the initial blast radius. However, the surrounding hills and valleys amplified the effects of the bomb, leading to widespread devastation and a significant death toll. The death toll from both bombings was staggering. In Hiroshima, an estimated 140,000 people died instantly or within months of the bombing. In Nagasaki, the death toll reached 74,000. Section 7. The surrender and its aftermath. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki had immediate and profound consequences for Japan. The Soviet Union, which had remained neutral in the Pacific War, declared war on Japan just hours after Nagasaki was bombed. Faced with overwhelming destruction and the prospect of further atomic attacks, Emperor Hirohito made the unprecedented decision to surrender. On August 15, 1945, Japan announced its unconditional surrender to the Allied powers, effectively ending World War II. The surrender ushered in a new era, one marked by the spectre of nuclear war. The world grappled with the implications of this new technology, its awesome power, and its potential to destroy humanity. Section 8. The long shadow of the bomb. The long-term effects of the atomic bombings extended far beyond the immediate devastation. The bombs left a legacy of radiation sickness, cancer, and birth defects in the survivors, known as hibakusha.
The psychological scars of the bombings ran deep, shaping the collective memory of the Japanese people.
The bombings served as a stark reminder of the horrors of war and the devastating consequences of unchecked technological advancement. In the decades that followed, the world witnessed the emergence of a global anti-nuclear movement fueled by the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The bombings served as a catalyst for the nuclear arms race and the Cold War, a period of intense geopolitical tension between the United States and the Soviet Union. Section 9. A legacy of peace and nuclear threat. The bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki remain a subject of intense debate and scrutiny, even decades later. Some argue that the bombings were necessary to end the war quickly and save countless lives, while others condemn them as unjustified acts of terror and inhumanity. Regardless of one's stance on the bombings, their significance in human history is undeniable and profound. They marked a turning point in warfare, ushering in the atomic age and forever altering the global political landscape and military strategies. The legacy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki is complex and multifaceted, encompassing many perspectives. It is a story of immense suffering and loss felt by countless individuals, but also one of resilience, hope, and a shared commitment to lasting peace. Section 10. Remembering Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as stark reminders of the unimaginable horrors of atomic warfare, a dark chapter in human history that must never be forgotten. The cities have been rebuilt with remarkable resilience, but the scars of the past remain, etched deeply into the landscape and the memories of those who survived the devastation.
Memorials and museums in both cities serve as poignant reminders of the immense human cost of nuclear war. They stand as powerful testaments to the enduring human spirit and the collective resolve to prevent such tragedies from ever happening again.
The stories of the Hibakusha, the survivors of the bombings, continue to educate and inspire new generations. Their experiences are a call to work towards a world free from the threat of nuclear weapons. The lessons of Hiroshima and Nagasaki are as relevant today as they were in 1945, reminding us of the catastrophic consequences of nuclear conflict. In a world still grappling with the persistent threat of nuclear proliferation, the memory of those who perished serves as a powerful call to action for peace and disarmament. Remembering Hiroshima and Nagasaki is not just about honoring the past. It is about shaping a future free from the threat of nuclear annihilation, ensuring that such a tragedy never occurs again.